Last week we booked 2 assignments. First up was a grip and lighting package with a photo assistant. This is for one of my big corporate clients I shoot video for. They wanted a still photographer to shoot up to 90 executive portraits. I subbed this out to a photographer in town, Brent Strong. 2 reasons. One, the decision makers are people I haven't worked with before. They're from a different city, and they wanted to see portfolios from multiple photographers. And while it's been slow, I'd love to get this photo gig. I didn't collect still examples from the past, so Brent gets the gig. And second up, I was actually on hold for a video shoot as the DP on the same date, and it ended up canceling. Had I accepted the photo gig, it would have been a guarantee that I would have had a DP call. Ziyun sent over this light, the MOLUS B500, for me to review. So free light for me in exchange for a review, no other compensation. So I thought this would be a good assignment to try it out. We ran it at 30% intensity, 5600 Kelvin color temp, and then I had F22 as a backlight and a second F22 matte light as fill, and then a 60x making the circular radius gradient on the backdrop behind the subjects. Ziyun discount link in the description for any of their products. It doesn't have to be lighting, anything store-wide. Nice upgrade on this B500 light is there's no external power supply. It's just a standard IEC cable that goes directly into the head. One piece, takes up quite a bit less space in my van than my existing 300 daylight only lights.
Look at that. It's worse without David. Look at that. When this smoke show gets in the shot.
Look at those skinny arms.
Get out of here, dude. Oh, dude, that's the one, man. This is the enforcer. Yeah. All right, man. Look at that. Take a bow. It looks like you're about to take a bow. That's
or
awesome.
Pregnant.
What? Look at that. Oh, man. Come on now. Senior photo.
The final deliverables on these photos are 1x1 crops, so it's going to be about, chest up. On the finals, we're debating between portrait and landscape to shoot them. In the end, I think we went portrait, and it was a 24-70 at 70 mil, 1/25 a second shutter, and I think he went with a 5.6 on the shutter speed. I'm not sure on ISO, but we had the key light, the B500, set to between 30 and 35% intensity, and then all the other lighting just ratioed out to reference the key source. In 2024, I have referred away or passed on 1 still photo job a month. Should I start accepting those gigs? Curious to see what the community thinks. Historically, I've been so busy, there's been no reason for me to take it on, but it's been slow since August, so it's got me rethinking. Denny, musician, friend of ours from jiu-jitsu, performs every Wednesday night at a local bar. And I guess when you've been years as a struggling musician, you find ways to save money, and this is his method of cable management. Getting set up for an interview in the house, but we're going to shoot B-roll first. So I'm going to stage cases outside the front door just to minimize how many items we bring into the house. We're going to start with a walking tour of the property with the 2 owners. Beck's getting the audio kit prepped, and we're going to time code jam the camera Burano 24mm prime handheld for the tour. And then I need to put a shotgun mic for reference audio. I'll just borrow the FX9 mic. I've been working a few scattered Texas days on this documentary. I'm not the primary DP, and the capture requirements are 21:9 aspect ratio, 6K or higher. So 239:1 aspect. I get the mask enabled in the viewfinder. I'm thinking maybe the A unit on this show is shooting anamorphic for 239 final delivery, which is super exciting. I may buy some affordable anamorphic glass next year. All right, B-roll walkthrough tour complete. We did this old house style, both people mic'd, cutaways plus 24mm lens with the subjects in frame for all the time. It was good little cover sequence. So now we're switching over to interview mode. We're gonna put this 500 watt cob light to the test. Got to use it for still photos earlier. So now we're gonna try it out on interviews. I'm curious to see if there's any fan noise at a working intensity.
About battery on.
I know battery on the F22, but even at low dim settings on battery, it's been cutting out in the middle of interviews. So let's go AC. What's ready to go in? The key light?
Key light. You want grid?
Yeah, go ahead and grid it this time. All right, I'll bring this one in. This is probably a long enough cord that I don't need a stinger for this one.
Do you want booms?
That one will need a stinger. 2-camera interview, 2-shot, recording an 8K on the Burano on the 24mm with a lot of negative space, which I was really digging in the aspect ratio. And then FX9 in 4K is a close up on an 85mm prime. It's a couple side by side, and I find when I shoot couple interviews, I like to use my key source with a grid, and then I pan the light to match the illumination intensity across the two subjects. Or if one's got a darker skin tone than the other, you can put more intensity into the darker skin by panning the light. On the B500, I was watching the fan turn on and off cycling. I can't hear it at all in the room, and with the headphones, lav mics, and boom poles on the Talent, no fan noise at all. The thing is silent. We ended up running this at 30%, so very similar to the photo shoot. And I had the 2 cameras, aperture f2.0 in the high base ISO with the variable ND enabled in both cameras. So I don't actually know what the true illumination or output was, but I did have daylight windows in the background with the blinds closed, and I was able to hold the highlights at 30% with the grid. The biggest lights I carry on my van package are 2 300 daylight only Cobb lights. Reason I have not gone bigger is like a 600 or 1200 is much larger to store, and I got to run it on a bigger, heavier duty light stand. When the instruments get that big, I found I need more crew, like a dedicated grip or an electric to run the bigger scale shoots. So at that point, if I'm hiring a gaffer, just like owner-op camera operators, like a gaffer to survive, they really need to get their van package or their kit rental on as well. If I have a 600 or 1200, I'm taking that rental away from the gaffer. My son's mixing sound and stepped up the complexity a bit more on this assignment. He's running the 2 wired booms plus 2 wireless lavaliers, and both electrosonics had to be retuned at this location for interference. So he's building his confidence frequency coordinating. And next week, we've got another audio gig coming up. I'm looking forward to vlogging and watching him improve his skill set. Going back in time, 4 years, July 2020, I posted a vlog, my 9 income streams as a director of photography. I'll put a link in the description if you want to refer back to it. I think all of these items are relevant today, as much so as they were back then. And you can see we were all stuck at home at that time, and I was clearly overdue for a haircut. Just scanning through these real quick right now. Number 1 and 2 are still relevant for me, as is 3. I'm not consigning anymore. I don't have any active rental house relationships where they're sending me work. I'm not doing number 6, although this week I did send my son out as a photo assistant working my van package. So that could be actually, I guess, an item 10, putting your kids to work in the business. I don't do any post-production. I haven't for, let's see, 9 years about. Still invest in the stock market. And number 9, I haven't invested in any end clients or direct clients, businesses or products in the last couple of years. My last one, I think, was in 2022, but I talk about that in detail in that 2020 vlog post. So while it's been slow the last couple months, I've been updating my bookkeeping, projections, savings goals, trying to move the date forward in the calendar when I am financially secure enough to retire. Right now, I'm definitely in the down glide slope stage. Like, I don't need to hustle and pursue every lead that comes in. Each year, past 4 years, I've gotten more selected with the work I take on and placing a much higher priority and having free time so I can remain physically fit, so that when I do book jobs, I can keep up with the younger shooters and not hurt myself and not have 3 days of recovery after 1 day of aggressive B-roll handheld gimbal work days. So right now, me trying to predict the future in my current state, it looks like I'll have 3 income streams for my family that are passive to cover our monthly expenses, annual expenses. And what the percentages are is I took the total balance of my taxable cash accounts, and then that's a safe withdrawal rate. You can go down the internet and Reddit retirement rabbit hole on safe withdrawal rates, but I picked a conservative number that will hopefully allow my investments to outpace inflation so that my total balance, my net worth, continues to expand greater than inflation. If I retire early, I'm not drawing down the balance each year. Everything continues to grow and is sustainable. Real estate, that's cash flow. It's the hard number of what's left, rent less expenses for the year. And rents will adjust with inflation, provided I keep up on it, self-managing my properties. And as I get older, I want to sell off these rentals and just move all of that into totally passive investments, stock market. Maybe I get into an annuity when I get older or some other vehicle. I'm looking into notes. I sold one house this year. I just got my first payment on it. We closed a little over 2 months ago, but I'm servicing the loan, seller financing to the new owners, which were my previous tenants. I've got a good track record and history with them. So confident that's going to work out okay. And I may venture more into that if it's successful. We'll see. And then retirement accounts are tax deferred. Same thing. I'm looking at a safe withdrawal rate there. Now, I can't make penalty-free withdrawals from those accounts until I'm 59 and a half. But there are some exceptions. I've been working with my accounting firm that does all my business and personal taxes for over a decade now, and they've exposed me to a few options. The just top level, there's what's called a Roth conversion ladder. You have to do it for 5 years before you can withdraw funds without a penalty. Another one's called a 72T. It's just a section in the tax code. That one's a lot more strict. And then, or I can just take out money and pay the 10% penalty. Those are the three I'm looking at. Maybe we'll go into those in detail. I honestly need to break it all down again. I looked at it a few years ago, but all the balances have changed since last time I looked at it. Only hope here is it gets some of you thinking about this and looking at things from a different perspective and planning for the future. With the back pain I've had, this is now week 5. I'm almost back, but I'm still like only 75% recovered. It's really got me thinking about, like, what do I do if I'm too hurt to work and maintain the business? All right. Thanks for watching. Let's continue the discussion in the comments below.